Welcome to Dead Man Talking. Tonight's story is by the fantastic author Am I On Your Mind? As ever, please do let us know what you thought down below in the comments box. Please do like and share, it really does help build the channel and our community further. And why not hashtag TeamFEAR. And so, with that aside, let's get into tonight's story, entitled Log Entry 24915. Let's get straight into that. I work in a research base, and though I hate working in a third world country, it was here where they found the remains of an unknown ship a couple of decades ago, and by unknown, I mean not of this planet. Because we are dealing with unknown technology, even entering the ship was a challenge, and it took us months. But with a lot of patience and effort, we made a lot of discoveries throughout the years. The most recent one was made with the help of a supercomputer, and we finally could translate one of the texts found on the ship's system. The following is the result of the translation. I'm posting it here because this is an anonymous social network, and not too mainstream. This frees me from this need that I have to tell the whole world about it, without affecting me or attracting unwanted attention. Log Entry 24915. Checking the security alarm on our monitoring system about potential catastrophe on planet B72. I usually don't do these kinds of inspections, but since I was the closest ship to the planet, and none of our security agents on B72 have reported it yet, I was ordered to investigate immediately. I was only a couple of hours from the planet, and so I changed course and hurried up. Even before crossing its atmosphere, I could tell that something was really wrong. It had its blue colour from the oceans, white from the clouds, but the land was just a yellow-brownish colour. Its typical green wasn't there. I started by looking at the coastal cities. They didn't seem to have any kind of activity. I could only see a couple of fires, but nothing apocalyptic. Cars weren't moving, and my ship's sensors didn't detect any sign of life. I couldn't find people, animals, or even trees. The open fields, usually full of vegetation, were deserted. My job is to keep a general observation of civilizations. As observers, we have been strictly forbidden to land or even fly directly above cities. But considering the current scenario, I flew just above the biggest coastal city to get a closer look. And same thing, no movement and no sign of life. It didn't make any sense. A war or even a sign of one would have been reported by our agents right away. Nuclear weapons would have destroyed everything. Biological weapons would have made no effect on animals or vegetation. Planet B72 was in the observation phase for some time now. It was a young civilization, and for that same reason, they require constant monitoring to avoid their own extinction. The investigation team assigned to this alert had not arrived yet, and so I went into the biggest cities of the planet. I didn't dare to land though. Without knowing what had happened, it was risky. Found the same scenario in all of them. All life had just vanished. I decided to wait for the investigation team to access the main registry on our monitoring module. Due to the scale of the event, I didn't want to ruin or mess up the logs. After all, I'm just an observer. When their ship arrived, they asked me if I had got any conclusions/clues, or if I was able to contact our local agents. Negative. We headed to our security module just in the middle of the ocean. That's where we keep the monitoring system and logs. We started searching for a clue from about 3 days ago. Everything was normal. Cities were active and full of life. We kept forward from there until we found something. 2 days ago, and in the course of 18 hours, everyone was gone. Analyzing the logs from that day, we witnessed a terrible event. Every single living thing on the planet was being absorbed. I had never seen anything like that. It was all too gruesome. In a matter of hours, all life on the planet was devoured by some kind of energy. We saw how some people just fainted all of a sudden. Others were screaming with pain and terror, expressions all across their faces, while they were being slowly consumed. It was as if something was feeding off them from inside. It all looked pretty cruel. And then we understood. There was only one thing capable of doing something like this that quickly. Apparently, our agents on this planet, which were in charge of keeping civilization safe, were too focused on avoiding nuclear and biological catastrophes. They didn't think in more advanced scenarios. They underestimated this civilization. We use interdimensional bridges for space travel. Understanding their functionality and mastering their creation, you can travel to anywhere in the universe in a matter of days, and at the same time avoid some specific dimensions, dangerous ones. There are a bunch which whole existence is based on assimilate all form of life, and they can do so only by having them at their reach. And somehow this civilization was capable of creating a bridge to another dimension without knowing or understanding the consequences. I can't believe such rotten luck. First try creating a bridge and they opened it to where they shouldn't have. After watching the event, the team leader just managed to say, "Poor bastards. The bridge wiped out even our own agents. They paid a high price for their incompetence." And to create a bridge the size of a planet is not an easy task. And personally, I found it kind of brilliant, but terribly naive, a real tragedy. I really liked this civilization, and they didn't deserve to go like that. Once the investigation team delivered their report to our superiors and having extracted the security module, they decided to do a hard cleaning. They will alter the orbit of a nearby comet to wipe any trace of that failed civilization. Once B-72 stabilizes, we will start again using the same configuration. Log entry 24915.